ended a 6-game winning streak that MVP had, winning all 3 of their last best of 3s 2-0. So Afreeca putting themselves in a position to take another win here and continue their ascent in the standings.
Well, I think they would probably prefer to end the season 4-5 over 3-6. Or in the first round of the season anyway. Ekrim Elise, the first 2 bans.
All right, so they're not going to first pick Shen in this game. Now, Rise uncharacteristically falling all the way through the draft in our first game of this series because it was a little bit of a wait-and-see game if the Vladimir was going to get picked, but Afreeca executing on that pick quite well, and MVP may want to first pick Vlad here.
We'll see. Trundle ban and the last ban coming in for MVP now. See what they decide to remove. Maybe the Rek'Sai wouldn't be a bad idea.
It's interesting to see the Elise go so quickly. MVP may be rethinking their plan of trying to deny the Graves pick early on. Gave up quite a bit for that, including Vladimir and the Karma. So the Vladimir will be banned this game.
So one last ban over the Afreeca Freecs. See what they decide to go with.
I don't think you need to ban the Gragas. The Rise would be the natural ban, but they decided not to actually remove it. Nidalee's still available also. And
Gangplank? What? Huh. I mean, we saw MVP hovering over Gangplank in game number 1, but...
They have played 0 games of Gangplank this season as a team.
And Nidalee immediately grabbed up for Beyond. I'm really surprised.
Yeah, and like you say, we did see the hover, but
yeah,
very confusing as to why they would ban the Gangplank here, considering that it hasn't even seen success from other teams. Jennair tried to run it and was kind of smashed by the Rocks Tigers.
Right.
Well,
strange. Okay, well, I mean, there are scrim results out there that we are not aware of that may have been affecting that. Most likely.
But the Karma is still available, the Sivir is still available, the Rise still available. A lot here for the Afreeca Freecs to work with.
Could just go Karma Sivir here, I suppose. Or maybe Rek'Sai Sivir.
I think you take Rek'Sai Karma. That's what I would do. But if they really want this Ashe pick, it was successful. Songyun had a lot of great setup, and they're just going to go for the strategy that worked, which is the Ashe arrow into the Unburrow combination that they were able to land on multiple occasions to create those picks.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Giving up Sivir Karma, though, is troubling, I will say. So there's still a lot of choices to be made. You could take the Jhin. So they don't want to take the Sivir into the Ashe matchup again. They didn't do well against the Ashe Karma.
Oh man, I mean,
you could take Jhin Karma here and just have a ridiculous amount of poke.
This would be Maha's first game on Jhin this season. And, you know, if you're having issues getting caught as a Sivir, playing Jhin seems like a pretty big risk. So I don't know about this one.
Yeah.
He's going to have to play a lot better than what we saw him play in game 1.
They are going for a pretty great poke composition, and they're going to blind pick a Gnar? What is going on?
I do not know. I do not know. MVP, though, they think they've got it all figured out. That's for sure. They've got a plan, and they're sticking to it. So, the Gnar, I mean, I suppose a potential zoning tool to keep the Jhin safe, but...
This is really weird. The Gnar has mostly been used as a Trundle counterpick recently, so taking the Gnar blind says a lot, I think, about the confidence they have in ADD's champion pool, because his most played champions are Maokai, Shen, Trundle, and Echo. Echo is pretty much useless. Maokai was not successful in the last game. Shen and Trundle have been banned. So where does he go? I guess it's just a blind pick Gnar at this point, but giving him, Gnar he doesn't really have bad matchups per se. does it, except for the Aurelia. That is not a good matchup for Gnar.
I was going to say, they banned the Aurelia in game number 1, but they left it open this time, and the Afreeca Freecs are going to grab it along with the Braum. Aurelia Braum, and then what are the last 2 picks for MVP going to be? They need a mid laner.
This is a very weird draft. I mean,
Yeah.
Ixu, I'm curious about what he's going to do on this Aurelia. It's his first Aurelia game of the season. And again, we talked a little bit about Ixu having some champion specialties, but not being a player with the deepest champion pool. So this is a new pick, and we'll have to see if he can actually follow through with it. It looks like basically just a siege composition from MVP, which is why the Braum was taken. In fact, I'm very confused, Doa, because when you take Nidalee and Jhin in your first 2 rounds of the draft, I expected MVP to take Jhin Braum here. And obviously, that's a pretty weak lane because you can't stack the concussive blows very quickly with Jhin.
Yeah.
But it does prevent them from taking the Braum against your Nidalee and your Jhin and your Varus.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a lot of potential damage blocked by that Braum shield.
One thing to be excited about is the Taric-Gnar combo,
Yeah.
which means that you can set up a Gnar ultimate straight into a Dazzle with the Bastion Dazzle.
Yep,
So
do a slam with the Gnar, do a stun him again.
Yeah.
So it's potentially a lot of CC there.
yeah, huge amounts of CC with this composition. Root from Jhin, Chains of Corruption from the Varus. But getting through the laning phase might be a bit tricky for MVP. And I don't know if I would set myself up to a tough laning phase, considering that they straight up lost in the laning phase last game.
Okay, and there's a TF for Mickey hovering over the Yasuo for a while, but Mickey, of course, no stranger to that Twisted Fate previously.
Man, Afreeca just has so many options for ganking. Single target CCs at both side lanes, also with the jungler setup, so Mickey is going to be very happy when it comes to choosing targets for him to go to. He's going to roll with the Twisted Fate teleport, and that means that they will have a strong 1-3-1 in the mid and late game with the Aurelia, with the Twisted Fate in the side lanes, and a Hurricane Ash in the middle to provide that wave clear. Jhin doesn't have great wave clear, so he's going to be maybe in a bit of a bind early on. And MVP with a Jhin and a Varus simply cannot send anybody to match a split push Twisted Fate. They can't do it.
Yeah.
Anybody that they send will be too low mobility to actually escape from any kind of ganks put down. And Jhin Taric, not a strong lane.
Well, it's pretty shocking, too, because, I mean, MVP's issue last game was largely that they lost lane so hard. And now they're kind of picking themselves into some rough lane matchups again. And
I think this is going to be another early game snowball from Afreeca, Doa.
might be.
I like this composition a lot more from Afreeca than I liked their one in game number 1. It's just, there's so many options to create picks. Afreeca going back to their pick comp roots here.
Yep. Well, let's see if MVP can fight the odds and tie it up. Time to get into game number 2. Ooh, Mountain Drake. All right, welcome to Summoner's Rift yet again. MVP versus the Afreeca Freecs. And match that we went into thinking maybe MVP had the edge here has turned around in a big way. And after kind of a mysterious pick ban, we'll say, MVP may be fighting a little bit of an uphill battle.
Underlords on Jhin.
Yep.
Okay. Curious. So this is definitely going to be a lot about the long-range poke for the Jhin.
And how is this Gnar going to work out? I don't know. It's a bit surprising, to say the least. I mean, the one thing that MVP maybe does have going for them is they do have Beyond on that Nidalee, and that's certainly a very powerful combination.
Yeah, I mean, MVP, if they can get to a point in the mid game where they can siege with the pretty traditional armor penetration builds on Varus and Jhin, they will be powerful. And if they can get that Mountain Drake, they're going to be quite happy. But Afreeca can just play cross-map against them so effectively with this composition that they never even really have to group up. And if anybody overextends on MVP, they're going to have a rough time. The Aurelia split push combined with the Twisted Fate split push means that MVP is going to have to commit to some hard sieges as a 4 or 5 man group and just hope that they can push faster.
Yeah. Oh. That's right, we love Hangman here.
We do love Hangman here.
That's right. You and Achilleos kept us very entertained yesterday during the pausening.
Yeah, the pausening was definitely real. If you guys missed yesterday, oh boy, there was an hour and a half of pause before the game even started.
Yeah. Nice dazzle from Max and Maha to set up some damage onto Snowflower. And yep, glad to be back here where delays are just a thing that happens elsewhere, you know? It's nice. It's nice. Gank onto Ian, though. He's going to flash. That gold card coming in anyway. There with the knock-up, and that's going to be first blood for the Afreeca Freecs already. And one may begin to worry if one is a player on the MVP team right now.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about this, but both mid laners not going for a cleanse here. And Ian, maybe not the most necessary considering that they banned the Elise, so it's not like it's an Elise TF combination or anything like that, but a little bit of late on the Summoner spell usage means that Mickey does get the gold card, and that could set up for repeat ganks. And I just think this is a recipe for disaster. Yep, this is not a good matchup for Gnar, by the way, Doa.
Yeah.
Gnar has good matchups. Remember way back when in Champions Spring of last year when we saw the surprise Aurelia pick from Smeb into Marin's Gnar in the finals, and the reason why is because Aurelia can get onto the Gnar. So a lot of tanky top laners, when we see him played against Trundle, can't actually get to the Gnar because they lack their own movement abilities. But basically, if you walk up to the Gnar and force him to use his hop, then you could just get right on top of him with the Blade Surge and just wail on his face with true damage with the Heat-10 style. And Gnar does not deal well with that.
Yeah.
He only has that one movement ability, so it makes it tough.
Okay, Max gets stunned, takes a lot of damage, deals a bit in return. And
the other factor is because you're going to be building damage on Aurelia, the percent HP damage from Hyper is not going to be doing as much as it would to true tanks.
All right, Beyond getting flanked by a Mickey here. There's a gold card. Lyra can't really follow.
Yeah, Mickey doesn't have mana, so.
Beyond doing a decent amount of damage in return here. But Lyra does, I believe, get those Raptors.
Well, this is scary, though. We already have a 1,000 gold difference at 4 minutes into this game because of the gank on the mid lane and Ixu's dominance in this top side.
Well, Mickey looking pretty good in the mid lane, too. Here comes Beyond to try to turn it around. Afreeca takes a little bit of damage as he exhausts onto Songyun. In some trouble now. Mickey comes down with the teleport. Gold card on the Max. They will trade 1-for-1 maybe here. Max staying alive. Mickey now, the one low. There's the dazzle. They trade. He manages to take out Max at the very end. So it does end up being 1-for-2 in favor of MVP.
Yeah, no TPs from the top laners, so Mickey going in alone again doesn't have the flash. So 2-for-1 trade. That'll be a nice pickup for Maha, especially getting that gold lead with wacky times in that bottom lane. Let's take a look at how this happened. I mean, what a great play from Max, actually. The flash dazzle, and Beyond is just right there waiting.
Yeah.
Dancing Grenade gets the finisher. Mickey's going to come in, but you can see, I mean, Tarek gets very tanky with the Bastion, and so they can survive just long enough. Also, it is going to be a Rod of Ages Twisted Fate, so he didn't really have any additional damage to offer. Not even getting the CDR boots first makes skirmishing early a bit of a problem for this Twisted Fate.
Definitely might. That Mountain Drake's still up for grabs, and again, you know, that's one that MVP is really going to want to have with this poke comp that they've put together.
Yeah, it'd be great for, I mean, it's great for either side because Afreeca can definitely use it as a part of their 1-3-1 split push just to go through the turrets quicker, particularly only once they get a Lich Bane onto the Twisted Fate. So it's going to be pretty nice. It's a crucial dragon for both of these teams that are looking to provide a lot of turret pressure, but just in different ways.
Yeah. Snowflower able to take out that ward there. And the Afreeca Freecs have caught up a little bit in gold anyway. Cut that deficit in half, more or less. And Mickey's foray down to the bottom lane did give Ian a chance to catch up in CS on this Varus at least. And ADD able to catch up in CS as well.
Yeah, it was a bit of a boon here for ADD.
Yeah, for sure.
He's going to be going for a Warden's Mail first. Not going to do much against the true damage from the Heat-10 style. And Ian finally gets a blue buff. He'll be happy after last game to be able to have a buff.
Yeah, he did not get a lot last time. He might not have even gotten one.
I don't think he did.
Yeah.
They did steal them from Afreeca, but again, it wasn't a big deal considering it was Vlad and Rek'Sai.
Right.
A combination in the mid and jungle. They didn't care about getting blue buff at all.
Well, so at what point do the Afreeca Freecs have to get worried, you know, because it does seem like there's a bit of a window in this game where they do need to get kind of a lead, you know?
No, as long as they play defensively. There isn't an answer to the split push, the double TP split push from Afreeca. As long as they can keep wave clearing, Mickey going for a bit more sustain with the Catalyst and a bit more HP to survive the poke from MVP, but yeah, they've got some answers here. Songyun should definitely be trying to build into a Runins first. That is where you want to go with this Ashe build because you need as much wave clear as possible and to allow your TF to split push.
Oh, Lyra going after Beyond, but Beyond just hops away. Meanwhile, Ian forced to freeze, or forced to flash rather, getting frozen. Whoa, Chains of Corruption onto Mickey now. Ashe Arrow comes through. Nice dodge from Beyond, goes right back in though. Here comes Snowflower. Beyond in trouble now, exhaust onto Ian, so he can't do much damage. Turning around onto Mickey anyway. Mickey dodges a Q. Somehow, oh, I thought he was gonna live, but he couldn't quite do it. Curtain Call comes in. Can he pick off Lyra? Not quite. That was close.
Yeah, Lyra right on the edge.
Yeah, 1-for-1 trade.
Call. Yeah, 1-for-1 trade because Mickey was actually tanking the turret. He was a little bit foolish and over pursuing into that objective and got the turret aggro. He got a little bit greedy trying to pick up the kill onto Beyond actually, and then paid for it with his life. So trade going over, but Snowflower gets the kill onto Afreeca. Not really what you want, so let's see how this all went down. I mean, Ian does burn both of his summoners very early on. Now, Beyond comes in after the Chain of Corruption. Remember, Mickey's pretty tanky, though, and Lyra is going to block that spear. The Chain of Crystal Arrow just barely missing, and then they turn on to Beyond. Snowflower there, and here's where Mickey gets greedy. He walks really far under the turret, takes that turret shot, then takes number 2. Doesn't quite get out of the turret leash range. Songyun and Snowflower there for the body block for Lyra, so they don't take an unfavorable trade. Here we go.
All right, Mickey coming down to the bot lane yet again. Nax knocked up with that Braum ultimate, trying to get away. Lyra's there. Nax will flash, so will Maha. Gets hit with the gold card anyway. Whoa, that's a lot of burst damage. Mickey exhausted. Teleport coming in though for the Afreeca Freecs. And as Itsu joins, ADD finds himself kind of behind enemy lines. He'll be able to get away though.
Yeah, and the minion wave is just not there for them to push as a 5-man unit, so they probably should have actually canceled that TP from Ixu, but there's an arrow right onto ADD.
Yeah, he's in trouble, gets blown up, knocked up, goes Meganar at the right moment, but still gets taken down by Ixu. And Songyun just really doing work on this Ashe yet again.
Yeah, that's a nice reversal, so they get something out of the investment of the Twisted Fate ultimate and the use of the teleport. TP has to be used just to preserve the mid lane right now because Ian is pushing into it so hard. Mickey still without, a little bit early for the Rod of Ages, so has a few minutes to get a normal timing on it. And otherwise, just a lot of action here in the early game. Afreeca really trying to accelerate this, and that's what they should be doing with this composition, is just playing as aggressively as they can.
Yeah, they've got a little bit of a lead, but MVP's been able to stay, you know, not equal, but more or less equal, I suppose.
ADD really didn't want to come in behind enemy lines. And MVP, they actually have the Taric ultimate to preserve them and get back underneath the tower in spite of having pushed forward and getting the TP from TF behind them.
Yeah. So coming down to the mid lane now. Ian's going to walk right into him. Aurelia all over that Varus, and there's no flash for Ian right now. He's in big trouble, man. Lyra chasing.
Nice chain.
Wow, they can't quite catch him. Yeah, chains the corruption, keeping him alive for the moment. ADD coming down as Beyond backs away. Gold card loaded up, though. Mickey not getting close enough to use it.
MVP is just getting smashed in these skirmishes.
Yeah, Lyra, though, in a lot of trouble. MVP turns around and gets one in response.
Yep, no flash and no tunnel. And now Jin is here.
Yep, that's right, the slow from Curtain Call. Max coming in, and Beyond picks him off with the spear. So MVP responding with 2 kills of their own.
Yeah, right as I say they're getting smashed, but they respond faster with more members. Jin walks up, has the opportunity to get into the top side of the map to use the Curtain Call, and they've got all of that long-range poke. And Afreeca splitting up after successfully skirmishing and taking out most of the HP of several MVP members. Just sort of walks in and dies one by one immediately thereafter.
Yeah. Let's watch that one again.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, they get such an advantage, but with Beyond and Ian. But Lyra, for some reason, walks into that top side, and Nar's auto attacks do most of the work with an additional spear. And again, what we're going to see is Ixu splits off from Mickey, flashes early, but Max with a point-blank dazzle right here. Walks up, stuns him, straight to a spear. Beyond just landing the skill shots to get a couple finishers.
Well, I think MVP may have found the answer to Maha. They just put him on a champion that plays so far back that he's not even in the fight. There we go. Problem solved.
Still dangerous when there's Twisted Fate that can TP onto him when he is in that Curtain Call. But there's TP right behind him, outside of his cone.
All right, Ashar goes through, does connect to Ian. Ian again with no summoners, and he's just going to get destroyed.
Yeah, he thought it was
an easy kill there.
He thought it was safe because Mickey didn't have his pick-a-card up, so wasn't anticipating the arrow coming through, but Songyun with another nice one, and that means gonna start pushing very hard onto this mid lane.
That's a lot of damage onto that mid lane turret.
Right, we're getting to the scary point for MVP, where they're going to have so much armor penetration. You already see the Dirk starting to be built from MVP, and that means their poke against Afreeca is going to be massive, because it's essentially going to start doing true damage because no one on Afreeca is building armor. So it really is going to come to a head in this game as to where, who's going to push faster with the split push from MVP or just seeing the 5-man sieging.
MVP may have an opportunity for Dragon.
Yeah. It's been a while, bit of a late Drake.
Yeah, they're going for it though. And there's no vision for the Afreeca Freecs. Ping's going down to go and check it, but they may get there a little bit too late. And this would be really big for this Mountain Drake to go over to the MVP. Although it looks like they may lose their top turret for it.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent trade for Afreeca.
Yeah.
I mean, getting the gold lead here is fine. And we talked about that Mountain Drake. It's still pretty important to both these teams, but very important in this situation as they force Mickey's flash. Max is doing a great job on this Taric.
Curtain Call yet again. Mickey slowed down by that Beyond throwing in the spear. Mickey manages to dodge that. Mid lane turret will still go down. Whoa! Somehow Songyun's Ash Arrow goes right through the middle of the team, and it's nobody.
Yeah, but that's a mid turret and a Drake just for a top turret.
Well, that's really good, especially against the Twisted Fate from Mickey. Taking out that mid turret early on really limits the Twisted Fate.
Well, he's going to be moving into a side lane pretty soon anyway.
I suppose.
But they need Songyun to get more wave clear in. He went for the dagger for the Berserker's Greaves. He must have quite a bit of money right now. And he needs to get that Hurricane as soon as possible so that they can start their split push.
I'm not sure how wealthy Jin is. What do you think?
How wealthy Jin is?
Yeah, do you think he's a
rich guy?
Character?
I don't know.
Hard to say.
I mean, he must be pretty bad at creating his art because he is actually just killing people instead of surviving off of his art.
But maybe he just takes their wallets, and that's how he survives off his art. You know, he's just like, well, there we go. All right, speaking of there we go. Mickey coming in, Twisted Fate, Snowflower, and Songyun having to use that flash right away. ADD teleporting down, big Gnar ultimate right into the root for Songyun, or on Songyun for Maha. There's a kill for MVP. They're going to keep chasing. Snowflower not going to make it out of this one either. A double kill for Beyond. This in Italy certainly has been damaged, but man, what a great chain of CC. ADD's Gnar ultimate right into Maha's W. Deadly Flourish certainly living up to its name. Oh, Chains of Corruption, though, misses for Ian.
Yeah, fortuitous timing, too, on the Gnar bar, because it was right when they were pushed too far forward to actually combat against that. They are abusing the low mobility of Ashe and Braum when they push up, and now Maha's going to have some free time on this turret, so not even having to group in that mid lane. Instead, just a quick punish there, and now finally MVP starting to have a bit of a gold lead, but there's still not an answer to this Aurelia. Songyun goes back. He completed the Essence Reaver. That is not what you want to do right now. You need wave clear in mid so that you can actually open up Mickey onto the map and get him into the side lane.
Bad Songyun.
Yeah, it's just pointless, right?
I mean, what is he supposed to do with it, really? Do more damage?
Doing more damage is great, but you need Mickey to do the damage now. Mickey also going for a Zhonya's Hourglass, or at least the Seeker's Arm Guard next. We'll see if he actually completes the Zhonya's. I would say he should go Arm Guard Sheen, and then pray that Songyun gets a Ruin's Hurricane somewhat soon.
Terror comes through yet again, doesn't connect with ADD, but he still will be stunned by the Braum passive.
Mickey's here.
Trying to get away, he's got Mega Gnar in just a second, there it is. And can ADD turn this around? Mickey could be in trouble. Yeah, they're going to go after him. Krug, though, blocks the spear. ADD low even in that Mega Gnar as he gets exhausted. Lyra locked up for just a bit. Beyond coming from the side. There's another kill coming in for MVP. Jin picks one up. Meanwhile, Aurelia gets in the back lines. Takes out a couple. MVP having to be careful here. That's a lot of kills for the Afreeca Freecs. Double kill for Lyra. And Max the only one left. As Afreeca somehow wins that team fight goodbye. That's an ace. That's going to be a bot lane tier 2.
Yeah, they committed to that instead of just poking right there. MVP doesn't want a team fight. They just want to keep poking with their advantages, with their double Youmuu's Ghostblade. Afreeca had a few more teleports to use, but man, Mickey played that fight just terribly. He came in with the teleport into the Krug pit and then started doing the Krugs. I don't even know what he's doing right now. He used teleport and is doing Krugs.
Well, the Krug did block the spear from Beyond at least, so there's that.
I mean,
there we go.
What the hell was this fight? ADD also coming back in after he was brought so low. So here's the poke. They land the Chain of Corruptions, but why MVP actually commits to this is a little bit beyond me. They're coming in, but their one tank doesn't have any HP, so by the time Ixu arrives with a teleport, it's just free kills for the Aurelia, because everybody on MVP who's remaining is so damn squishy.
I mean, it really looked like they thought they could kill off Mickey and Songyun. You know, they went for that.
Why was he doing the Krugs?
I don't know, man. He wanted some gold. He hates Krugs. Maybe he just needed that tiny bit of gold to finish the Zhonya's Hourglass. Maybe that's it. He's got it now.
Yeah, Mickey, why were you doing the Krugs?
Sometimes you just got to do Krugs. You
got a TB for Krugs? I don't know, man. I think Afreeca got away with quite a bit there, because MVP, again, they didn't have to commit. They just needed a poke and then make sure that Afreeca didn't take their tier 2 turret. And then they just go right back to sieging, and they've got an excellent composition to do that. Instead, they give Afreeca just a large gold lead.
Whoa, nice. Asher onto Ian as Mickey comes back in the lane with that teleport. Easy pick there for the Afreeca Freecs. They get the mid lane turret as well. Flash gold card onto Maha, followed by the Braum ultimate. Great engage again. Although they didn't keep Maha alive. I thought maybe Max was going to be able to do it with the Cosmic Radiance, but
he tried.
He tried. The ultimate from Tarek, not quite enough. And Afreeca does pick off the two main damage dealers for MVP.
Afreeca getting big breaks in this game. MVP falling apart during their power spike.
Yeah, I would say so. Mickey with that gold card onto Max right now. Snowfire just blocking some damage. Big engage immediately, though. The Unburrow sets things up for the Afreeca Freecs to get another kill, this time onto Beyond. Ixu goes deep to force ADD out. That's going to be another turret in favor of Afreeca. Chains of Corruption, though, onto Ixu. He may have overstayed his welcome a little bit here. Exhausted, goes back in for a bit more damage, but ends up dying. So a little bit messy on both sides there, but the Afreeca Freecs certainly coming out on top.
Yeah, they are. And Ixu, we're going to see which build he is going to prefer. If he's just going to stick on the Giant's Belt, or if that is going to eventually be a Dead Man's Plate.
Well, it's another Mountain Drake. And I guess it's nice to get for MVP, but they aren't really putting themselves in a position to use it.
Okay, Ruinous Hurricane is done. Mickey should be reassigned into a side lane after grabbing his blue buff.
Probably. Yep, looks like he's going bot. No, looks like they're going for the dragon first.
That's what he's worried about. He can easily clear that wave from range at the bottom side instead of grouping up in the mid lane with the Ashe, but a little bit more safety for clearing out some of these wards. I can walk bottom just fine and deal with this wave.
I can feel your frustration.
Well, they don't have vision. They don't have vision, so I understand why he
Sure.
would be a little bit reluctant to go down there alone. TP is available for Ixu. Ixu is also a monster at this point in time. ADD has the Frozen Mallet, I guess, trying to just kite out Aurelia. Not going to be the easiest thing in the world, though.
I mean, we're already seeing Afreeca be very good at getting into the back lines of MVP, and, you know, when MVP tries to engage, Lyra's right there with the Rek'Sai on Burrow.
This Aurelia being fed is just a nightmare scenario for Ian and Maha, neither of which can actually escape from Aurelia.
Yeah. All right, curtain call popped. Mickey in a little bit of trouble. Chains of Corruption lands as well. Still alive, though. We'll see what happens after the teleport completes. ADD having to run away. Ixu flashes out as MVP, turns onto him. Slow comes in from the hail of arrows. Max is there as well. MVP trying to chase down the Afreeca Freecs. Can't believe Mickey is still alive out of here. MVP turning onto the dragon now.
Also, Ixu doesn't have TP any longer, so if he leaves, he's not going to be able to come back in. Mickey, on the other hand, will get a recall.
And Mickey can teleport back in, too. It looks like the Mountain Drake may go. Big Gnar ultimate, but it's mitigated, though, by the Braum Vault. Cosmic Radiance coming in. MVP gets that invulnerability for the moment. That's going to help Maha as he's jumped on. Gets the kill onto Snowflower, though, and MVP may have this team fight. Lyra, though, setting up a kill for Mickey onto Maha. Dodges the spear on his way out. That Rek'Sai will live. Meanwhile, Mickey on his own, and MVP are going to get themselves the first big team fight win.
Yeah, they are, and just the Taric ultimate there was so clutch in keeping the members of MVP alive during that team fight, and also they are really at the pinnacle of their powers. You look at these armor penetration builds from Maha and Ian, who can just absolutely chunk out the members.
Check this fight out. MVP does get the second Mountain Drake during this too, which is pretty big.
Yeah, great Gnar ultimate setup. Songyun stuck at the back, has to flash out of this engagement, and Ixu goes down early. And because of the Taric ult, he can't actually pick off one of the big carry threats from MVP. Gets stuffed. Mickey tries to do some work here. He is not going to be able to get away from ADD as long as that Frozen Mallet is there. A nice, cute move from Lyra.
That was close, man. Noped right out of there. Did save them the kill, though. And so MVP, you know, despite being about 5,000 gold down, they are still very much in this game.
Well, that was...
does go to Beyond. Ash Arrow doesn't hit anyone in a fight already again. Afreeca going in onto Ian. He's not going to make it out. And the Afreeca Freecs responding to that lost team fight right away with a pick of their own.
Well, they just have to keep playing aggressively, right? Because the more they are going to have more globals up more frequently, so keep on trying to pick off Ian. Ian also had that flash, but had to burn it to get out, so he's going to be even more vulnerable come the next pick attempt. And Afreeca has to be careful. They don't want to overcommit to this.
Well, they're doing the Baron for
now.
They
want to turn. They should want to turn here.
Yeah, there they go. They're turning right now onto Max. Maha in the back where he should be. Mickey very, very low. Ixu actually setting some things up here. There's a double kill for Maha, and he's in a great position for once with this Jhin. Able to do quite a bit, of course, with that armor penetration build. Snowflower goes in with the shield. Max trying to escape, still alive on that Taric. Maha picks up his third kill of the fight. There's another one, and MVP, that's 2 team fights in a row now that they've won, and this is going to be an ace. Lyra can't escape this time.
ADD was an absolute hero in that engagement. He flashed back in, even though he was low, right right as he was transforming into Mega Gnar to hit the ult that actually won that engagement, opened up time for Maha with that Yomu's Duskblade build to do the work, and now here they are using the Taric ult on the Baron just to get that little bit of extra tankiness, and they're going to take it out.
Yep, that's right. I mean, the combination of that tankiness from the Cosmic Radiance and Asher, oh, whoop. Recall's going off just in time, but that combined with the two Mountain Drakes let them take this Baron.
Watch ADD here. I mean, he gets chunked out, but then he's going to hit the Mega Gnar. Oh, gorgeous
Beautiful.
ultimate right as it comes in. Maha has such a good angle, and it gets the right shots directly onto the back line.
Yeah.
Ixu has a fancy move here. I mean, ADD's going to come back in, and watch, he barely dodges that stun. Sidestepping, he thinks, okay, maybe I can take out Max to get this. Max still has the flash up, and that is going to be a one team fight for MVP, but the setup was great. And Afreeca, you know, I think they just had to turn a little bit more aggressively and a little bit faster there. They're a pick composition. They're not going to do well in a situation where they're getting poked down and kited around that Baron. But Afreeca have not been doing a good job of setting up their split push.
Here we go again. Whoa, a big three-man Gnar ultimate comes in from ADD, and the knockups responding from Afreeca Freecs are not enough. Way too much damage coming in from MVP right now. Another kill for Beyond, takes a lot of turret hits in return, but there's an inhibitor in favor of MVP, and with that Baron, they may be able to finish right here.
Well, Doa, you know, I criticize the blind pick Gnar, but if you're going to be this much of a baller on the Gnar, I guess you're allowed to blind pick it because you had a trouble in the laning phase against that Aurelia. Knew that there was a possibility of that matchup coming into play, but damn if he hasn't hit a lot of great ults in this game.
Talk about an MVP performance. ADD hard carrying on that Gnar, and that's going to mean that we are going to game 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
So impressive stuff from a Gnar that was very starved in that game. Ended the game 40 CS underneath Ixu, who had a pretty good game himself actually on the Aurelia, but it's between him and Max, man. Max had some really good Taric ultimates and dazzles to set up kills or to save his less than mobile backline of Varus and Jhin.
Well, Maha ended that game 7-3 and 10 on that Jhin, and it was his first game on that champion this season. His positioning this time, actually pretty good, and when it wasn't, they could mitigate it with the Taric ultimate, they could mitigate it with the repositioning from ADD, so it was a good way to play around Maha as well.
It was, and Maha pretty much had a free ticket to damage that game.
He really did.
Because of how well ADD and Max played, they set up pretty much everything that he could want, and he does end up with the most damage on his team. But really, Afreeca, they had an opportunity to set up for a split push, but they never actually pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah.
And when you have Twisted Fate with 2 globals, you have a Rek'Sai with a global, you have a teleport on your top laner, just go ahead and set up for the split push, set up for picks. Don't fight in a position where they're going to 5-man poke you down in a massive armor penetration power spike in the 20 to 25 minute window, which is really where MVP was going to be at their most potent.
Yeah. Well, we said it could go to game 3. It will go to game 3. When we come back, Afreeca Freecs versus MVP. A battle to finish the first round robin strong here on LCK Summer. On OGN. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back right after this.